Hello there, I'm Helen Winsor from Legal IQ, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Christina Ayiotis, adjunct faculty from the George Washington University. Christina, if you don't mind, please could you tell us a little bit about your background?
So to the extent that I've spent the last couple of decades as a lawyer doing both legal and non-legal roles, several years as a corporate attorney in a major multinational. December of 2007, I was asked to start teaching as an adjunct professor in the computer science department at the George Washington University in a master's program for computer science and a joint certificate for cybersecurity and information assurance that enabled me as a practitioner to really be on the cutting edge of information policy issues.
In the context of your experience as in-house counsel at CSC, how have you seen the topic of information governance evolve?
I was actually originally brought in to that organization to set up a defensible eDiscovery program. They understood that I had other competencies, particularly in the area of privacy. So my original title was Deputy General Counsel, or rather Group Counsel, eDiscovery and Data Privacy, and that evolved into being Deputy General Counsel Information Governance, because there was a confluence of the various areas around responding from a legal perspective to litigation and investigations, records and information management, privacy, and security.
Information governance seems to be the latest hot issue for in-house legal teams. What do you see as the value of end-to-end information governance, and how do compliance requirements fit into this life cycle?
So to the extent that information governance as an umbrella term within an organization means thinking about your information assets from both a protection perspective and an exploitation perspective. So it's about figuring out how you create and or receive this information, how you add to it, how you analyze it, use it, share it, sell it, and then maintain it through its life cycle, and then determine what you're going to do at the end with it. Either keep it because you're required by law to keep it, or it has historical value and it's going to have a permanent retention, or to get rid of it. So the ultimate goal of implementing an information governance strategy and program in an organization is to ensure that you properly use your information assets for the benefit of the organization.
And what changes do you think should be made to law and policy so that they can keep pace with the ever-changing technological capabilities and innovations, and also changing employee behaviours, things like social media?
As a start, there needs to be an acknowledgement, at least within major governments, that the technology capabilities today transcend geographical borders, such that we need to create an international construct of legal requirements and protections that take into account that individual country laws will not be able to have as much effect as they've had in the past. I mean, the fact of the matter is that we are completely interconnected. There is no geographical boundary except for the location of servers when it comes to doing things on the internet. And I see a trend and continue to believe that we'll do more and more in that environment, and that will force entities and regulatory bodies to acknowledge that we need a governance that is attuned to that kind of an infrastructure as opposed to geographical borders.
And finally, Christina, what have you gained personally from this event? And could you reflect on some of the hot topics, please?
I was telling Vanessa last evening that the last time I was here in London 2 years ago, I was able to really do some wonderful networking and meet with some folks and continue after the conference to collaborate and to establish relationships that better this area of the law. It was very helpful for me to get a sense here where companies are and need to go and where the law is going in the UK. The launch 2 years ago of the practice direction, I think was announced at this May 2010 IQPC event, and it appears that people are moving along, but there's an awful lot going on in the financial services sector itself that requires entities to be thoughtful about how to efficiently get the information they need, in particular, to respond to regulators. Yesterday, the regulators presented their perspectives around what their expectations are and how organizations can work, I think, more harmoniously and in a way that will keep down costs. So I think having those understandings is going to help everyone. Yesterday's agenda really touched on the transformation of business process, the fact that so much is happening in social media, and that organizations need to be cognizant of, in particular, the younger generation because of the different mechanisms within which people can communicate, the channels, and the facility with which people send information back and forth, which I think in some instances can create risk, and organizations really would do well to figure out ways to do good training to mitigate that risk.
Tina, thank you very much for your time today and your insight. It's been great to meet you.
Well, you're
Thanks
very
very
welcome.
much.